But look at this, Porsche's getting underway, Alvin.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic racing here. The GT3 pretty much all out the way, but now looking at the Porsche class with Dimitri Damasos for Real Championships now leading the way here into turn number 1. Looks all clean here for the Porsche class. I'm trying to look at all the way to the back, and it seems like the Porsche class all good, but
by a shot, off. And yes, round will go the overdrive performance 111. Dennis Schroeder getting a huge hip check as he headed his way through. That was 2 into 1 not going.
Yeah, it was Schroeder in the 111, and it was just I think the 111 thought he was clear, moved over to driver's right, was not in fact clear, and came right across the front bumper of the Berlin Sim Sport number 127. Tobias Schultz, nothing he could have done. He held his line completely, all on the 111 there.
Yeah, he certainly didn't. Stephen Walkup almost getting collected in terms of what was going to be the Porsche 911 category. So driver sports then starting to run into a few issues in the early goings. But the Porsche battle though going on, P4 in category. Philip Vandenherk of the SEMA Racing 206 against the driver sports 4 of Stephen Walkup. Walkup's already been in the wars today. To the outside tries Vandenherk, and that's not going to work for him down onto the brakes. So maybe just trying to play that waiting game, get a good run out to the final corner. Race lead battle though, we'll keep an eye on that one. Fuel Auto Tech then loses the position then as they head up through the NGK, and that was very, very simply put right there, Cisco. A bad run from Healy coming out of Warsteiner, and that was Cornelis getting that opportunity as there was a slightly missed apex there in the lift.
Yeah, it was, and he lost all that time. So now it's a case where Healy has to make up. It's only about 4/10 back to the leader of Fabrice Cornelis there. So this is going to be, so Healy's going to have to make that up on circuit. It actually went to 0.6 that time now, so it's fluctuating, starting to grow a little bit, and Cornelis continuing to push here.
Yeah, he certainly is. And let's talk about strategy, Alvin, for these GT3s.
How about SEMA Racing versus Driver Sports, the 4 and the 206 in your Porsche category. Those guys about half a second from each other. That's your closest battle on track for the moment, so we'll stick with those guys, at least for now. And the 4 is being piloted by Stephen Warkup at the moment. You can see this is what we're talking about, Alvin. When you go up these hills and you get it just right, you can make up so much time. Here comes the 206.
yeah, going the 206 now, coming here side by side, the 4 and the 206. I think the 4 is gonna play a little bit nice here, give it just all the room that the 206 next, because he knows that yes, you can battle it all you want, but there's really no point in trying to battle it if you try to take out each other.
Yeah, and a very excellent pass completed by the 206. It starts to try and open up that gap a little bit. So if the 4 can't make the undercut here, he's not going to be able to do anything with him. A very good corner exit for the 206 back up to that P3 and P4 battle. Well, it was a battle, not really at the moment, because GT Ross has started to walk on Rick Hayes in that 51. And it's going to come down to where I don't think Hayes is going to be in range for the draft to take effect. Meanwhile, ERT, how about that battle? SRT looks like they had a little bit of an issue, lost a ton of time.
This battle going on, you've had Florian Kruger go through with Berlin Simsport behind. Overdrive Performance 111 for position, so they're all having this scrap up blue flats, which you don't want to do. Swedish Cross coming up in the next few moments. You're going to see Overdrive look to pull it to the outside, but then lose all momentum in the sheer matter of the fact that speeds once again are the same. So now you see the driver of Walkup do the clever thing, back off of it into Swedish Cross, but that's going to cost him a lot of time in comparison to Van den Herk just in front.
Gonna cost him indeed, but also for Van der Herk now running wide here into Arenberg, letting Dennis Schroeder in the number 111 go through. So I think that is what is going to allow to Stephen Warkup to close that gap here coming downhill through the SS. But I think still the speed difference, you know, that is one thing that we always mention here on VLN, especially with the GT3s and the Porsches. Yes, in terms of cornering, the GT3s had the advantage, but when it comes down to speed, well, it's pretty much race on. But now seeing Warkup going off track.
Yeah, straight on, I said. So Warkup loses out then overall. A mistake at Ardeneur first. You don't often see them, Cisco, but they're just getting caught out braking himself, having to go straight on, taking the slowdown penalty. Warkup now 5 seconds back from where he was.
Yeah, he was, and he lost all that time. So at this point, you're going to have to make that time up just on track alone. It's the, you know, you're not going to be able to make too much time up unless you maybe try and pit now immediately after that.
Oh, battle going on. You can't afford to keep on dropping backwards in events like these. You've got to stay up onto the pressure point. It means now, for the first time in this race since qualifying happened, we have 2 Evolution Racing Team machines up inside the top 3, but more crucially than that, they're losing time to this man at the front of the field, number 24, Vendaval Sim Racing Blue, Fabrice Cornelis, who is just dominating this race, half a minute forward after what was not the best qualifying by his standards that he would have thought, Alvin, but you know, he's still proving he's got a great race pace to go out on it, and he is a driver that a lot of teams, I think, will be having an eye on.
Definitely, you know, the work that Vendaval Sim Racing and Fabrice Cornelis, they have been doing so far throughout this race, nothing short of fantastic. I have to say, you know, they decided, you know, let's just put away whatever happened during the last round. Yes, it was unfortunate, but we showed that we dominated that race. So yes, even though the results may not show that they won the race, they know that they did the job that they had to do.
Side by side on the Dottinger Hove Driver Sports, then trying to get past the Amphitech.de racing machine. Omar El Adrissi right now under pressure, walk up to the outside, and this is the thing with Omar, he's been struggling on his lap times, 4 seconds a lap slower consistently. Traffic in front, they'll have to negotiate, they stay too wide. In front is Iannucci, cut the nose off, walk up, he will make sure he gets past it. Very good heads up driving from all of them right now, and Iannucci's not letting him go through. They're trying to dictate his own traffic. Race leader currently in your MX5 field, and finally getting around is Stephen Walkup. And well, huge ass coming down onto the lane as things stand. That's David Haynes. And really interesting battle happening between Porsche and GT3. Dennis Schroeder of Overdrive Performance 111 against Stephen Walkup of Driver Sports. That's a shame that's broken up. In comes Walkup then, second stop of the day. And with 1:40 to go, yes, he will be short there in the event of that one then, Alvin. But what we're seeing is Stephen Walkup in second position. He has been a driver who's been proving to everyone that he's got the eclectic turn of pace to get there. Ooh, Cisco.
Yeah, Elliot Biddle just had some hard contact.
Battle going on, which is a little bit delayed in terms of your Porsche field, Cisco. It's Stephen Walkup in the number 4 for the Driver Sports machine, trying to chase down Mary Hrushka, who had not the best of lap times going on, and
No, never mind. Sorry. No, you're absolutely right as far as the times go. Caroni's just, I mean, it's a huge gap that he's got right now, all the way back to the 337. So Caroni, at least from where I'm sitting, it's not in the bag, but the bag's open and it's sitting next to the table.
Yes, it's on the way to be in that bag. So, you know, in the next few moments, we could see the point that wins the race. But very, very crucially in this event that we're looking at, though, Cisco, that gap coming down, and on that last lap alone, Hrushka, with that spin, lost 11 seconds on that last lap to Stephen Walkup. So Walkup is closing down that gap. It'll be more representative this time by.
Yeah, and Hrushka at this point, you know, this is a case where he just has to hope something happens to Haynes, I think, at this point, and Haynes is actually downstairs. At some point, we'll get a word with him when we can, but Hrushka, I mean, he's got to start worrying, I think, more about Driver Sports, who's behind him, and Stephen Walkup than he does David Haynes.
Yeah, and David Haynes doing a very good job out there on his own, making sure that he is getting himself through. But yes, you're right. The Amphitech.de machine, they're on 3 different drivers for this event so far. They had Claudius Weid opening up the stint, Omar El Adrissi in the second stint, who was a little bit slower. Mari Hrushka is not having the best of runs. Maybe this lap time will be more representative, and that gap slowly coming down from Stephen Walkup, Alvin, but not massive amounts.
Yeah, and you know, this race has been really interesting for everybody here in the field. If you really think about it, you know, this has been a race of trying just to be calm, trying to hit your marks, making sure that everything is good with the car. I think in terms of the race that we have seen in here today, overall, the attrition rate also it's relatively low, so that also kind of helps to the fact that you really have to hit your marks because of the attrition rate being so low, being able just to do your race alone should give you a good result.
Yeah, it certainly should. And actually, I want to give credit to the 51 machine, Motorsport for All AMG, the machine that is probably going to gain the most in the... So, very interesting. Motorsport for All now going to drain the tank dry, Cisco.
Yeah, they are. So they've made their bet at this point, Jake. There's no change in this. This is how the strategy is going to go for the end of it for these guys. They have to get this right. Battle between the 511 right now, and looks like I'm going to try
Hruška versus the 4, Stephen Walker.
Yep.
Yes,
and they're going to go. Yeah. I found it finally. Porsche's. They're going to go down into the left-hander here, and that's Warcup, who, remember, he's been trying to track down that Anfitec car after they had a little bit of an issue, and I figured Anfitec was going to have to worry about them later on. Sure enough, Driver Sports, excellent job by them to catch back up here, and the battle is on.
The battle is most certainly on as Warcup looks to try and get past Hruška. Apparently, round of applause for Robin Essen for his internet holding up. Very good job for Robin Essen to do the hour that he's done. But Hruška versus Warcup, that is the battle that we're looking at as they head up into this right-hander, waiting, and waiting for a little bit much more for everything to happen for him. And now can get the power down, now can start closing that gap. Hruška, we don't know too much about Hruška, Alvin, but Mari Hruška doing a very good job right now, just playing the defensive role. But at this stage of the event, you can make the defense here. It's Dottinger Hove that you find out where you are much more liable on your defense.
It is definitely the Dottinger Hove, the place that you really have to work all your defensive side when you are driving. But right now, there's a long way to go. Go ahead.
Whoa, Walker, my goodness, how do you hold off a massive slide like that? Gets himself four-wheel drift and deja vu indeed. Driver Sports holding on to a massive slide at Bravery Corner. Cisco, wow.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how he saved that car, but an excellent job nonetheless by that driver. And Stephen, I mean, he's going to lose all that time he made up, but you don't save cars very often at the Nürburgring. He just did that. He should count himself lucky.
The man's got 9 lives. Of course, earlier on in the race, he got sort of half collected in the incident that happened in the opening couple of laps of one of the GT3 machines. Not quite sure which one that was, but still, to hold off that and continue to just remain behind by not much at all, Anfitec would have been feeling, oh, I thought we had this one in the bag. Oh, no, they don't have it in the bag anymore, because look at Stephen Walkup. He's still there, and he will still be within about a second by the time they get to the Dottinger Hove, Alvin.
Yeah, it is, and you know, for Stephen Walkup right now, what he needs to do, you know, after that, let's say, that definitely warrants a change in underwear once he comes back into the pits for sure. But now it's patience, trying to close that gap, trying to see how close he can get. Once he gets into the Dottinger Hove, he needs to be really close, because these Porsches, they really don't have that much downforce. So the slipstream here, it's kind of hard to use on these Porsches. There is there, but you gotta be close.
Yeah, you got to be close. Jorge Soligo behind the wheel for Hammerhead Racing Black. Francisco Jose Romero stays in the machine for Team BES. So they will be in a minute scrap, shall we say, and into pit road also comes Berlin Simsport 62. Antti Tsonjic then dives down onto lane. As out also comes the IRJA GT4 team, Yuri Kurakawa behind the wheel of that. So the later stage of the GT3 now finally making their stops, and I've seen a vehicle in the wall. That's Dan Dressea of pitstops.ro, and that's contact with that's
GT Ross.
Yes, GT Ross.
Wasn't able to save it. Arana just hard into the tire barrier there. Dressea, same problem in both those cars. Massive issues.
We're not looking at that. That's a decision that our producers make. We're not looking at that. Anyway, continue on this merry road that we are driving on right now. And the gaps have been open here today right now, Alvin, and that's because that we have seen a lot of drivers try and make the push for one reason or another. It's been a case of there has been a lot of strategy play being involved. There has been a case, though, to be made that when you've got into the second half of the race, it has been very much a chance of just trying to hold it together more rather than hold it in a battle.
And that has been pretty much the race in here today. It hasn't been a race really of who is the fastest, but it's been it's more of trying to outsmart the competition in the pits, and that's what we have seen in here today. We have seen teams coming early in the pit window. We have seen teams that trying to go as far as they can. Tires, no tires. So, you know, the strategy is pretty much all over the place, and that is something always good to see, that you know, it's not always about pace, but also trying to be smart.
Hruška versus Walkup still continues on the GP course right now into there. Dominic Farber now running into issues as well. Suddenly, at the turn of 50 minutes to go, everyone is having themselves an incident, and it's very, very interesting to watch. I want to keep an eye, though, on Rick Hayes right now. Alvin, he's due to come in.
Yeah, definitely due to come in, and now we are pretty much just under 50 minutes to go into this race, and now everybody now definitely trying to make their moves here and there. Now they know that we are under the hour to go. There's no more strategy if you have come into the pits. Now it's just you on the track, and if you have somebody you have to battle with, well, you really have to push it.
You certainly do have to push it. Rick Hayes then, Dossinger Hove looking to make the run then. Oh, this little turn to the left, and he does under the Bilstein Bridge. Lefts and rights then to continue then to get themselves through. 16 down on towards the lane for the final time.
They really want to open that gap. I think it is a sensible call with less than 50 minutes to go. I think this will be a good call, and but still a lot of racing to go, of course, but that was the call that they had to do if they wanted to at least try to conserve that P2.
Yes, you have to agree with that. The situation that they're in is they're racing Vendaval Sim Racing Black, who are closing down the gap. So essentially, between now and the end of the race, they've got to beat Vendaval Sim Racing Black. Yes, it's brilliant. They've got past Evolution Racing Team VLN, but that's not the end of the story here, Cisco, because Evolution Racing Team VLN are within range here of Rick Hayes to really close down that gap, make those moves at the times here, as Hayes is stuck behind Dorling right now of the MD Motorsports machine. Of course, that one involved in a spin earlier on in this event. But this is what we're trying to see here. Bo Albert is looking for position number 2 and now still has to make one more overtake between now and the end of the race.
Yeah, he has to make one more overtake, and if he can make that happen, Jake, then I would guess that's probably the last overtake for position he's going to have left. 46 minutes left in this thing.
46 minutes left. It's certainly not all plain sailing between now and here. Want to keep an eye on still the battle between Walkup and Hruška going at it as they head into the second half of the Nordschleife. And this is the thing, that mistake that happened a lap ago, Alvin, that put the driver of what was going to be Walkup under a big disadvantage, unable to make that move. But now he's just all over the back of Hruška, and there's not much that Hruška can really do to get away from this situation. I think Walkup is really trying to apply the pressure and test the mettle of the Amphitech driver.
Definitely right there. This pretty much is where it shows what you are really made of. You know, we are 45 minutes left into this race. Now there's pretty much nothing you can do. If you are on track, now it's pretty much you do what you have to do. Yes, both of them, it looks like they still have to come into the pit for one more stop. But at this point, as you know, you have to do what you have to do. You bring your car, you do the best that you can.
You certainly do. The splash and dashes will be coming in the Porsche category. And it's been revolutionary, Cisco, to see the Porsche come in. Another big drift, though, from Walkup through what is that left-hander. And that's going to be stressing out the tyres a little bit more on that vehicle. And that means that maybe where you look at Walkup, it's not going to be all plain sailing between now and the end of the race. He has the pace to get past, but he's wearing up so much of the tyres just being stuck behind and having all of these massive sideways moments.
Yeah, it's not helping anyone, and it's certainly not helping the tires, because we keep alluding to the fact it's very hot out there. Once you start ruining those tires, rather, it's not going to be good. You're not going to have any grip left in that car, Jake, and he's not helping his case.
He's certainly not in this situation. Well, now you look at what is going on for Walkup. He's not got enough pace there. He's just sitting, he's waiting 275 down the straight compared to the 277 that was being put up there by Harushka, so not enough to be closing. There is damage on the bonnet for Walkup there compared to the nice, clean and tidy machine of Harushka, so that's something just to keep an eye out on here, that Harushka does have a clean vehicle, Walkup certainly does not in this situation, so maybe he is trying to wait for the pit stop window just to try and get that final jump, but it does happen like clockwork at times. You just need to make sure that you get that one little jump every single little bit at a time, and the V10R esports machine gets lapped by the Sloth Racing 40 as I just keep an eye out again on this battle going on between Albert and Hayes for what is position number 2, and again, Alvin, that gap be a fuel whisperer here, Cisco, and there is moments happening.
Yeah, the 4 car looks like, yeah, Driver Sports right on the back bumper, and it's the 511 and the 4, they're back at it. Workup was able to close up that gap, so now nose to tail are those guys, and it got a little bit physical already.
It is getting physical, so Walkup is frustrated about sitting behind again and again and again, so still looking for a way through. Get a good run then out to this right left and set the run out from Flugplatz, because Swedish Cross Swedenkreuz is going to be the place to make it happen just before Arenberg, and stuck in that tow 0.2 of a second up the hill, maybe looking for Flugplatz. Had a little bit of a look then towards the inside, and a big slide there from the driver of Hrushka in the Amphitech.de Racing 511 to the outside. Huge slide from Walkup. That's going to compromise the run as they make it side by side just about on the run through. But again, the overall pace is not there from Walkup. The damage is beneficial in terms of what is Hrushka's defense. And again, not able to make that move. This is a fantastic scrap between the two, Alvin.
A fantastic thing you want is get that car understeering grass into the wall.
Yes, and you've got to make sure something happens. A lot of traffic, though, for the driver of David De Witt here as he manages away past gentleman John Roberts. Needs to get past Brian Goddard of the Sloth Racing Taco machine. Those two also in a miniature battle out on circuit. And the 4 now starting to get into play in this battle, trying to go around the outside here of Mari Hrushka and gets the inside into the left-hander. What an unorthodox move that is. Brilliant. Hats off to it, Cisco.
Not the place I would have made that pass, Jake. There's some better passing opportunities coming up later in the lap, but apparently Warcup's saying, I gotta go because I gotta go up and see if I can catch the leader. I honestly don't think that's gonna be possible. I really don't think he'll catch Caroni, but apparently Warcup wanted by and he wanted by now.
Yes, and he made that move look so brilliant in comparison. If you look at the gap at the front of the field, 37 seconds overall, 2.5 even back. The Evolution Racing team will keep an eye.
Have a look here on the number 4, but the number 4 greatly defended here going into Bravery Bend.
Yeah, Bravery Bend there, and Walkup defends his corner very well. So this is where you hope that you'd have dual cameras. You don't in this situation. So we'll go back to look at SEMA Racing right now against his time. This battle going on out on circuit as the Driver Sports Amphitech battle has just completely dissipated and Hrushka off the back, but still Sabrakov looking to... Alvin, when you have a damaged vehicle and you know you're trying to overtake a damaged vehicle, is there more of an unknown when you're trying to make those overtakes?
It is really unknown because you have to assess your damage, but then at the same time, you have to assess the damage of your opponent and trying to get that part to see exactly after you both are damaged, where is your strongest.
Before you get your Porsche 911 category winner in Real Championship, proving again that French sim racing has a bright future. The likes of them, Berlin Simsport Overdrive Performance, they beat Driver Sports Amphitech with a great battle towards the end.